Esava, this is Geoblazable from GamerFusion.com, and welcome guys to today's Motivational Monday. As you guys know, I was doing this series a while back. I started doing it, but I felt like you guys didn't enjoy it as much, so I kind of decided to stop doing it and maybe focus on some other videos and give that a little bit more of a priority. But when I was streaming, I heard a couple people telling me and giving me feedback and letting me know that they missed the Motivational Mondays, that it would be a good idea for me to bring it back, to redo it, because it helped them get through the week or that day. As you guys know, usually what tends to happen when we go through the weekend is that we either become a little bit complacent because we get a little bit of chance to rest, and not only that, but we also kind of either we had too much fun when we went out, or it was a pretty boring weekend and we weren't able to do nothing, and we're like, dang, gotta go back to work, gotta go back to school, or gotta go back to my daily activities. Even though you're on spring break, not spring break but summer break, or you're on break from school, it's still a habit of like Monday being that day where like everything kind of starts up and you go from chillaxing to actually working. And that's why I decided to make these videos when I started the series, just to kind of give people a little bit of a help or a little bit of humph to get through the week, and kind of have something to inspire them to push forward for the week and have a good week head start. So that's how the Motivational Mondays came about. If you guys are wondering, this is the first time you're watching this, or you hadn't been seeing the series, basically what I like to do with the Motivational Mondays, I like to kind of reference them into a kind of a gaming aspect surrounding it, and then I do like a aspect you kind of like where you could do it to your daily living. So I always try to put involve gaming, because as you guys know, this is a gaming channel, and we're all gamers, and I think gaming sometimes tends to take away where like a lot of people think, gaming is not, it has nothing to show in life, it's kind of like a pastime or a waste of time. We could always learn lessons within gaming, and find ourselves to even be motivated while we're playing. So without further ado, fellas, let's jump in today's motivational quote. The quote of today is actually a really, really good one, and we can apply it to multiple, not only gaming, but in life, that's kind of like one of the biggest, things you could apply it to. So the quote of today reads the following: "There may be people that have more talent than you, but there is no excuse for anyone to work harder than you." So pretty much, once again, let me read that quote again. There may be many people that have more talent than you, but there's no excuse for anyone to work harder than you. So let's go ahead and first apply this into gaming. How could we apply this into gaming, and how could we kind of get that into gaming? I think Destiny is one of the games that we could use within this. Also Call of Duty, pretty much any game that kind of requires the skill based, or requires you to be really good at the game. So like when you guys go do trials, right, or you guys go do like PvP or multiplayer, you guys are playing a sports game like Madden, or like a NBA 2K, or any competitive game, which the majority of games are like StarCraft and all that. There's a lot of people that you probably been like, you're like, I'm really good, but then you find this one person that you're like, dang, that guy's really, really good, and he might be way more talented than you are, or super duper talented than you are, or like by far superior than your skill level. But that doesn't mean that just because he's that much talented doesn't mean you're not going to be putting the work to get better. So a lot of people think like, you can't learn a skill set, that you're pretty much born with a certain skill set. That's not entirely true, because you could always learn a skill set. The only thing that you have to do is put in the work. But the problem is, in life and also in gaming, people are not willing to put in the work, because people become complacent to the way they're portrayed. So let's say you play Destiny, you're like, oh, I'm really bad at PvP. People don't even put the time in, they just deal with it and say, okay, you know what, I'm not good at it, and I'm not even going to even try to get better. And that's where this quote goes into play, because a lot of us tend to have that chillax feeling, where we're like, all right, we're just going to go ahead and accept it for what it is, and we're not good at the game, then I'm not even going to even try to get better. And that tends to happen. And this quote is very helpful, because what it tells us is, just because you're not talented, and just because other people are more talented than you, doesn't mean you're not going to be willing to put in the work. So this is going to be applied, the way we can apply this in our daily living. This is really helpful not only when it comes to sports, but also when it comes to the work field. If you guys work in a working environment, if you guys work at an office, or you guys work like at a corporate place, then this is very, very, very helpful. The reason is because, just because someone else has more skill sets or is better with the numbers, or maybe he's a better, if you play soccer, a better goalie, a better, penalty kicker, or if you play basketball, someone's a better scorer than you are, or someone plays more defense, or, if you play football, someone has more speeds, more agility than you do, and that's, they were born with that talent. Doesn't mean you can't acquire that talent. Doesn't mean you cannot even acquire the talent, or even sometimes surpass that talent. It just means that you just got to work a little bit harder. And sometimes what happens in life, it's like we give up because we see other people are better than us, and we're like, okay, they're better than us, and there's no way I'm ever going to be that good. But it doesn't necessarily happen that way. What happens is that we're just not willing to put in the work, because we're like, what's the point of me working really hard to get better than this person if that's never going to happen? And that's the mentality the majority of the people have. The majority of us think, I shouldn't even try. What's the point of me trying? And what's the point of me even, going forward and trying to achieve a goal or trying to achieve something in life when someone, is much, much better than me? So, in a sense, I think this is going to be very helpful for you guys in every aspect of your life. You're going to be able to reference back to this quote, or reference back to this Motivational Monday, and say, okay, you know what? I remember Laser telling me, just because someone's a little bit more talented than I am, doesn't mean I can't get to that level, or I can't even surpass that level. Let me go ahead and kill this drag here, because you're gonna be able to surpass that level. The only thing is you have to be willing to put the work in. A lot of people are not willing to put the grind, and that's funny, because in Destiny, grinding is so heavily involved. I mean, there is so much retrospect when it comes to Destiny with the grinding being involved, and you have to be willing to put in the work. And sometimes, we're not willing to put the work. So, like, let's say we don't get our Galaphone right, and like you're like, oh, I just don't want to be doing the raid over and over and over. Well, since you weren't willing to put in the work, you didn't get that Galaphone you wanted, or you didn't get that weapon you needed. So you gotta be, willing to work for it if you want to go ahead and achieve something, or you want to become a better player, or a better, PvP player or PvE player. And in the workforce, the same thing applies. If someone has a more skill set, or someone has a higher pay grade, like you're like, dang man, I wish I would make the same amount of money he does, but dude, he's so talented, or he's so able to do that, and there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do that. That's don't let that stuff fill your head, because what tends to happen, if you let that stuff take over your head, then you're gonna have a small brain mentality, where you're gonna be thinking everybody is just pretty much born with the talents. And if you see the majority of the people that are really good at a certain aspect in life, or that are really talented, that just didn't come to them naturally. It's just that they grinded so much that forte, that they were able to fertilize their skill set and become better at whatever skill set they're doing. If you're doing like basketball, soccer, hockey, or whatever sport that you're playing, or if you're an accountant, or you're in school, someone's getting better grades than you are, and you're like, oh, there's no way I'm never going to be that smart. There's just, that's just not going to happen. This person was like, it's automatically, he was just born with being intelligent or being smart. And that doesn't, that sometimes people are born with that. Sometimes people are able to have a better shot at certain things because they're born with that talent. But just because someone is born with that talent doesn't mean that if you weren't born with that talent, you're not able to actually have that talent. So it's just all that it requires is for you to put in a little bit more effort. And that person, never think that person that's really talented, he's gonna also have to work for something maybe you have, a skill set that you have that he wished he had. He's gonna also have to work for that, because he's also gonna need to be able to get that talent that you have, because as you guys know, everybody's talented. Everybody has a special talent instilled in them that makes them different than anybody else. So maybe that person that you kind of see as being really talented, or being wanting you know, you wanting to achieve something that they have, or being able to, you know, have, you know, the talent they have, they're also going to be in search of a talent that you have. So always keep that in mind. But in order for them to be able to get the talent you have, they're also going to need to grind for it. They're also going to need to work hard for it. And sometimes the people that are successful tend to be the ones who are willing to put in the work, who are willing to put the extra hour, you know, the extra, lift that extra weight, you know, put in that extra, you know, put in that extra time to you know, shoot it extra baskets or kick the ball extra in the goal set, or like in, you know, gaming, put in that extra time of maybe, you know, just being used to getting killed over and over and over in the PvP for you to learn different skill tactics, and learn different ways to approach the game. So in this Motivational Monday, what I want to instill in you guys is I always want to go ahead and reference something you guys maybe could go ahead and you know, kind of be like, every time you see it, you're like, okay, well, I remember that time that Laser spoke about that, or I remember when that happened. So every time you guys pass by a construction worker, you know, the reason why I'm going to put that as an example is because you got to think of work. You got to put in the work, right? So every time you guys go past, you know, some type of like building or some type of structure where there's going to be construction, or you see the little, you know, hard hat or something like that, I want you to reference this quote and think of this Motivational Monday, that if there's some area in your life or some area that you guys are struggling with and not being very good at, because, you know, you can't be really, you're not talented in that area, always reference back here and think about the time that Laser told you, you know, any talent is obtainable as long as you're willing to put in the work. And if you're willing to put in the work for that, you're going to definitely go ahead and achieve that end goal, because you're going to be able to not only get, you know, have your talent that you currently have now, but you're also going to be able to achieve the talent that you're trying to obtain. And sometimes people that put in the work tend to achieve the talent and do the stuff better than the person who already was born with that talent, because that extra effort and that extra work not only pushes you to succeed and be more successful, but also pushes you to you know, overpass the person that you guys admire or you guys look up to. So please let me know in the comment section down below if you guys like the Motivational Mondays. If you guys don't like them, let me know in the comment section down below. I hope this helps, you know, you start your week in the right foot and at the right trike, in the right, you know, your right foot, and hopefully you're able to get through this week in a nice and friendly environment. I hope everybody has a good week, and don't forget, guys, for all things gaming, head over to GamerFusion.com, where we empower your gaming.